Okay, we are taking a look at, is it Heavendships and Helliances? Is that how you're
Yeah,
supposed
it's
to say
like
it?
friendships and alliances, but
Got it.
it's just dumb puns.
Okay, sounds good. Well, can you talk a little bit about your background in game development? And you were the solo developer on this project, right?
Yeah, I'm a student at the moment, studying gamification, and yeah, it's the first time I created a game for a game jam or like joined the game jam in general, and also like the first complete game I made on my own.
Okay.
So I don't really have that much background experience apart from university stuff. You did not read the how to play.
Oh, was I?
Yeah, I even
Okay.
wrote it in the description because yeah,
Oh, there we go.
most people always forget it and then are confused.
You know what? I didn't even notice that was a thing I could click on. I thought it was just decoration. Yeah, so A and D to walk, space to jump, W and S to look up or down, walk into statues to turn them into checkpoints. Yeah, okay. That's safe, that's dangerous. Okay, press E to reverse things. Okay, that's like literally the most important thing.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, so if you jump into that, then you take damage, but you can fall this way and we're safe. Okay, oh boy. Okay, I think
thought about
yeah.
joining with a team, but because of lack of experience, I didn't want to like be a burden to anyone because I'm not really good at anything specifically. Like I can't code, that's why I have to use visual scripting. I can't really do art well, so yeah, it's pretty obvious, I think.
Oh
So
god.
I thought maybe for like my first couple of game jams, it's better when I like do it alone and get some experience.
Yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with taking the time to like practice your skills. Like that's totally a valid reason for wanting to participate in a game jam. You know, everyone sort of has to decide like when you start the game jam, what are you looking for? Are you trying to like learn something new? Are you trying to make something that you yourself enjoy playing? Are you trying to just like try working together with somebody for the first time? Like, yeah, there's a lot of different objectives that you could conceivably have for participating in a game jam. Oh. So
Yeah, it mostly was about gaining experience and learning the time management. That's very important if you have like such little time to work on something.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so these guys are bad, but these little guys are good, or they're okay. Um, So I'm assuming I can... Yeah, there we go. Checkpoint. So I know that you have the option to... Oh. Press like W and S to look up and down. The checkpoint just before this one was... Oh, I'm glad that counted. The checkpoint just before this one, there was a bit of a blind fall there. So I would recommend trying to make sure that when you're looking up and down that you don't have to make any like blind jumps like that.
Yeah, the leap of faith. Yeah, a lot of people complained about it that tried the game so far. Didn't really notice that when testing, but it's always a bit hard because I know how the level looks. So for me, it never occurred that someone could be like, "Oh, what could be
Yeah,
there?"
exactly. Okay, I'm glad that I was able to kill myself because I was a little worried that I would just like have to do that part again.
Yeah, if you press escape, there's also just the ability to kill yourself, so you don't have to, you know, because there's like something that's kind of mean. It wasn't really intended at the start, but since it turned into such a rage game, I just kept it in, and it's the ability to like fall on older checkpoints,
Oh no.
which doesn't happen very often. There's just like this single checkpoint where that can happen, but it's still, yeah. If it happens, it's
Oops.
yikes moment.
Yeah, I'll say. All right, so can you talk a little bit about the inspiration behind this game?
Well, I thought about the theme, and I thought most people will probably just take some existing game and turn it around, because that was also like the examples that were given, turning around Tetris, turning around Angry Bird. And I thought, to do that, you need to kind of make the game that someone else already did and then turn it around. And I want to do something that has more involvement with the theme and actually uses it in interesting ways, because in my opinion the most important thing and the best things about games is that you can play them, and it's like the interaction about it. So I wanted that interaction to have a lot to do with the theme. And so my first thought was, yeah, I want something where you can flip around like the roles of different things. At the start it was like a lot more than it turned out to be, because yeah, I had no idea how much I can actually do in 48 hours. So it was like planned to have like different levels that have the flipping occur like in one level in a timed interval, and then another level it also flips the gravity. So I had like a bunch of ideas there. But yeah, that was like the main inspiration, just make the mechanic the theme.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to approach things. I mean, it is. I gotta say, you're using the like default Unity physics system, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god, this entire time I've been struggling to make just that one jump, and now I finally made it. Oh my god. What are you, is there, like, at what point did you decide it was going to be a rage game?
Well, you could say when I made the movement, because making movement with Unity physics systems is really hard, like to make it feel good. And so at some point I just gave up and was like, yeah, that's movement now. And if you slide down, like after I tried the game to test it for bugs and I died like 500 times, I was like, yeah, we need a counter for deaths, because that kind of yeah. So it's just kind of evolved into that through the movement being kind of crappy, which fits those rage games pretty well. Stuff like getting over it and so. And yeah, you're just dying a lot.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was mentioning just the other day, like, how much I hate Bennett Foddy and the games that he makes. Like, just because I don't think anyone should profiteer off making other people miserable. Like, that just sounds like the worst thing. Like, it'd be one thing if his games were free, but the fact that people have to pay to make themselves miserable is like, I don't know what you're doing.
Actually don't like these games either, but I'm a really big fan of like Dark Souls and other Souls-likes, and I think the feeling you get from achieving something that's difficult is really like the best part about games. It's something that stays with you for life. And like in this game, if you get to a new checkpoint that you've tried to get to for a long time, the feeling is amazing. And you don't really have that with like getting over it and stuff, because you can always just lose it all again by falling down, which doesn't really happen. I mean, it's one possibility if you like land on that one checkpoint, but apart from that one point, it can never happen that you lose progress.
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of a limit though, because I would say that people like games that are challenging. Like Dark Souls is good because it's challenging, not because it's difficult. For example, do I not have Cliff 64 here? Oh no, wait, that's in development. Finished games, Cliff. So this is a game that I made. No, it's the APK. Do I not have it on zip? Oh, here we go, Cliff. This is a game that I made that was called Cliff, and the whole game is just about having a character who has to make this jump, and it's just one really hard jump. Like, of course, I made it on my like second try there. So, God, the sound effects in this game are loud. This is also before I learned about how to do effective audio balance in games, apparently. But yeah, the only thing that you have to do is just make this one really hard jump, and that's the entire thing. And the global high score in this game was the number of consecutive jumps that you could make. So this is a game that is not challenging, because fundamentally all you have to do is just make this one jump. But good luck getting a score of more than one in a row. You know, like,
Yeah.
Getting a jump at all is really hard. And by the way, the reason this game is called Cliff 64 is because you can have literally 64 different people playing the game on the same keyboard.
Oh yeah.
And at a certain point, if you stop playing, then the characters become AI, and an AI character just makes the jump at a random time, and then they start moving. They get a little antenna above their heads. Anyway, you get the idea. So Cliff 64 is a terrible game, and apparently Alt F4 doesn't work in Game Maker, or anyway. So when it comes to making like rage games, I understand the idea of making something that is just really like simple but difficult, because I think that the key is you don't want to die for a cheap reason, right?
Yeah.
Like when I get to oh my god, when I get back to that part, like come on, I you know I'll get there eventually, but oh my god, the fact that the character just bounces off the it's are you using a capsule collider?
No, but I had an issue at the start that every time I was moving against the wall while in the air, the character would just not fall anymore. So I set the slidiness to 0, like the friction to
friction?
0. So now any kind of velocity just never goes down. And
Oh my
because of the
god.
weird way I made the movement, where it's basically when you let go of the button, it accelerates you in the other direction to end up at a around 0 state. You sometimes just keep sliding for a little bit if you're like too fast when you stop moving or too slow.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I hope everyone enjoys seeing these same few seconds of gameplay over and over again, because I'm not going to progress past this. It's not happening.
I mean, the thing that I really like about the game is that you, like, it's really possible to get good at the game. So if every jump in itself is not that hard once you like did it a couple of times. So
But
I
what
mean,
am I
I
supposed to
played
do?
through the game like 40 times now because of all the testing,
Yeah.
and I get through it in like 10 minutes or so. So it's possible to learn it, and some players are like really determined to finish it. They will not give up until they finished it, and it's like fun to see them improve at certain situations.
Yeah, I just like I don't even know what I'm supposed to do here. Like if I jump, I'm gonna bash my head against that, and then if I touch the ground, then I'm gonna die. So like how do you even get past this part?
Well, with enough velocity, you can basically jump through the hole if you jump late enough.
No, because I
It was too early.
well yeah, sure. I I don't think yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get past this part. And the fact that you can't stand on that platform is so frustrating. Like you can I please die? Jeez. Okay. Anyway, I don't understand why the character just constantly accelerates. Like, okay, sure, kill
I
me.
think because the platforms are like really slightly at an angle. Like maybe I messed up the transformation parameter there, the transform parameter, which is why they just are like so slightly at an angle that you don't notice it when you walk. And
Right.
when I tested it, I never like just stood on the platform for a long time. I always kind of kept moving and didn't really notice that. But of course, if you're like going through the game really slowly and trying to get every jump very exact, then it's like really noticeable.
So, what would you say is the most difficult problem you encountered during the jam, and how did you solve it?
Basically, art. I can't do art. It's if I try to draw a horse, it's like a stick figure on 4 legs. So yeah, what helped me there was people in in the Discord server from the game jam talking a lot about their problems with art, and someone saying that it doesn't really matter how good or bad your game looks as long as like the art style is consistent. So if everything looks bad, then it's an art style again, and then it's fine. Which made me hopeful, because like during the middle of the game jam at the end of Saturday, I was like really depressed and didn't really want to go on because it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. But that kind of gave me the ability to go on and stay positive about it.
Oh my god. Okay, finally. I just had to like.
You didn't
force
even need to
myself-
jump.
No, but that's just the thing, is that I'm worried that the moment I make the transition, I'm going to get myself killed, so. Oh my god.
Yeah, this is like the first part that gets like really hard, where
Oh, is that so?
yeah, where most players start to get a real issue. But it's really satisfying when you get it down, because you need to like jump higher on the second platform. Like after you land on the last angled platform, you have to jump a bit higher so you get velocity while sliding down to make that long jump.
Oh, like
And
this, you mean?
people trying to figure that out like takes a long time. And sometimes when you jump too early, you just bump your head, which is also
yeah.
very annoying.
You know, it's something that I noticed when I was designing a platforming game of my own, is that when there's kind of a two-part lesson here. So first of all, I made a game where there is no deaths. Like, it's just meant to be this chill experience where nothing can kill the player. And I thought, like, oh, this is going to be great. It's going to be like a nice chill experience. And that's largely true. It is. Except you get to a point in the game where you've got to make this jump here. You've got to like jump, fall, and then you get a double jump, and you're supposed to land on that platform up there. And the thing is, because there's no dying in this game, if you fail that jump, you have to go here and jump and go back around all the way to here. So it would actually be more merciful if there was a kill plane down there and I respawn the player here so they can try the jump again. But instead, in trying to make this like really cute and friendly game, I accidentally made this one part. It's the only part in the game that's like that. Everything else is like a much faster reset. If I had even made this jump possible so you could get back there faster, it would be better. But just because it's so difficult to make this one jump, and then you have to go on such a roundabout path if you want to attempt it again, it's just, like I said, it was accidentally more frustrating than I meant it to be.
It also, like, if there's like such a long way, like if you fail and you need such a long time to get back to where you failed, it makes the learning process really slow. Like if you have a boss in Dark Souls, for instance, and every try there's like 10-minute walk and you die 5 times during that walk. The moment you're back there, you already forgot nearly everything you learned on your first try, which is why I'm pretty lenient with the checkpoints in my game. Like, even more so at the end, like the harder the game gets, the closer the checkpoints get to each other. When at the end, it's practically like you have to make a single jump and then you get the next checkpoint and then you have another jump to get the next checkpoint.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can see this is the like the follow-up, like the next platforming game that I've been working on for the last little while. There's been plenty of games between When We Were Young and Worlds Within Worlds, but you can see the spacing of the checkpoints in this game is like there's one checkpoint per screen. There are multiple checkpoints per screen. Like there's 2 checkpoints here, just because I didn't want the player to have to, like, if you die on this jump, I didn't want you to have to walk from all the way over here to try it again. So, and you know what? Like I just found that when I gave players lots of checkpoints, it just kept the momentum of the game up and it just felt way better. So
yeah,
I really just see no downside to adding tons of checkpoints.
Which is why I don't like the games like Getting Over It and never played them.
Yeah, exactly. So especially in the context of a game jam, I would say there's no such thing as too many checkpoints. Like it's going to be a better play experience for everybody if you don't have to replay parts of the game that you've already completed or So,
I
anyway.
tried to like have different themes or different hard parts in the game that are like in a certain checkpoint area. Like here, it's this like wall jumping kind of slidey jump is like one fragment where after you've done that, there's like a checkpoint, and then there's the next thing, special thing that has like one checkpoint at the start and one checkpoint at the end.
Yeah. And I'm glad to hear that, but you know, if it was me, I might be so crazy as to actually put a checkpoint here where I'm standing right now. Oh my god, I jumped and bumped my head and pushed myself off. Just because, like, having to do... Oh my god, jump, hit, button... It's surprisingly, it's only one extra button you have to press, but it's very surprisingly difficult to do. Oh, god. So yeah, by the time you get up here, there's really no benefit to doing those first 2 jumps again. So I would already put another checkpoint here, and then...
But the better you are at those lower 2 jumps, because they're like pretty forgiving. Like you can jump a lot earlier or a lot later than is like optimal. And so the better you get at them, the easier it is for you to do this longer jump. So they kind of give you a learning experience for that later jump as well.
You know what? In this particular case, I'd say that's true. Like, there's been a lot of times before this particular jump where I would say that I would prefer there to be more checkpoints, but this one, I do understand how this is like building a skill that you need. Oh my god! But I would really, really appreciate if there was a platform just a little higher up, because it's a viscerally upsetting thing when you die because you bonk your head on something. Like
Yeah.
that always feels like
It's
the
really
level designer
annoying,
didn't
yeah.
give me enough clearance. So, I think that's about all I've got in me for this particular game, but I do still want to ask the last question here. So, do you have any plans for this game going forward?
Sadly, there will never be any plans for this game ever again, because yesterday when I tried to update some things and try to export it, it exploded my hard drive. So
Oh,
like
no.
Unity killed my hard drive because it really didn't like the export. So yeah, now the game is gone with everything else on that hard drive. So I'm just happy that I could like download it back from the from itch.io over the app from itch. So I at least still have the executables, and I also have like the Windows file in there, so you don't need to use it as a WebGL. So I at least have that, but I can't access the normal game files, and I wouldn't really do any more. Like the game itself is finished. There's a start, it has an end, and it takes long enough to finish. Maybe some small tweaks to make it feel a bit better, but it also, like, if I would tweak something to make some stuff easier, I think it would kind of lessen the achievement of those people who have already completed it.
I mean, I understand what you mean, but there was a little bit of a speedrunning community that built up around my game. Like, there's 16 people who've done speedruns of the game, and the top runner has a time of like under 5 minutes, which is just insane. And the one thing that I promised myself when doing the game, when making the game, was I never want a trick in the game to be a run killer. I never want there to be something that, like, 25% of the time people miss this jump and then they just have to like abandon the run and start it all over again. So thankfully it's never something that I had to really change, but if there was just like one enemy that always killed players, like they just was bad timing or something, and people were like on a really good path and then they would die because of it, I would actually change that. I would say that it's not worth the number of people who are going to go up against this in the future. Like, if you overcame it in the past, more power to you. You know that you're never going to take that away from that person, you know?
Yeah, but I don't really know of anything in this game that kind of fits that, because, like, if we take this jump, for instance,
Yeah.
a lot of people that I watched struggle with this jump, but the moment you know how it works, you never, like, I never fail this jump because it's not, like it's not random. It's just knowing how the execution works, and like with speed running, if people like actually get really good at the game, they will know how the jump works, and they will do it 100% of the time, because that's kind of how like the whole game was built. Because when I noticed when testing something that I had the feeling that I wasn't in control of if I could do it or not, then I changed it around, moved the block around, or added a checkpoint to lessen that problematic situation. So yeah, and like it's just also a time thing. I would rather use this time on like joining new game jams. You did it.
Absolutely. I mean, I think like you said with like you wouldn't change anything about this necessarily, but like the number of times I bashed my head on this block, I think that would be something that I would want.
I probably in hindsight, if I would have known that would be such a big issue, and that jump is also annoying. But at some point you just get the hang of it.
Yeah, but again, like after you finally get this triumphant moment of like how difficult this jump is, that's where you want to put a checkpoint. Like if you don't want to put a checkpoint, like again, if it were me, I would have put a checkpoint here before you have to do the really hard jump, and then yet another checkpoint on that cloud up there, because if you've gotten this far, this was really hard to do. And then you just feel awful when that progress is just taken away from you because you don't get, you couldn't make the jump. So
yeah, on that, like after that hard jump, probably checkpoint would have been better, but there was just the issue that I didn't know that it was like a hard jump, because I never had to do the jump to get further. I did the jump and then I was like, that's a cool jump, let's put the block there.
And overcoming developer difficulty is really, really difficult. Like, I think that it's very easy to make a game that is super challenging for players who are not you. It's also like reasonably easy to make a game that is too easy and it just feels like there's no challenge to it at all. And like finding that balance, that like gentle point in the middle where it is difficult for you, that it's difficult for players and easy enough that you can breeze through it as the developer while knowing that other people are going to have a harder time with it. It's very challenging, and it's especially in the context of a game jam, because the only way to really calibrate that feeling of like, is this hard for other players, is to get other people to try it and watch them play it. And you're not going to get that unless you finish super early and then have people who are ready to try it out, who aren't themselves jamming, and then have the ability to iterate on that. So I definitely understand it's a difficult point.
Yeah, so some of the difficulty was for sure not intended that way. And if I had more time, then I would have had other people try it, but I just finished like 20 minutes before then.
Yeah.
So I totally get it. Yeah, stressful.
But that's why I would say, like, it's always better to err on the side of too many checkpoints. People are never going to be upset for having too many checkpoints, and an ideal jam game should take less than 5 minutes to beat. You know? Like start to finish, even if you die a few times, like it's not even a problem if you can beat a jam game within 1 minute, as long as it's like it doesn't feel like a complete cakewalk, like as long as it feels like a possibility of like screwing some stuff up. There have been a couple games earlier on the stream today. I mean, the one, My Daily Decapitation, I think that's a great example of a short jam experience that's like nice, polished, and doesn't overstay its welcome. You just sort of get in, play it, and then so if you're planning to work on jam games in the future, then just sort of keep that in mind, right? Like, don't worry about trying to justify the length of your game in terms of the content that's there. Just make a nice, polished, short experience, and try to lean as much as you can towards making it easier, because odds are it's probably more difficult than you anticipate.
Yeah.
So anyway, do you have any other projects you'd like to direct people towards, or any social media channels you'd like to plug?
Not really, no. I'm still like at the start of my game designer journey. so don't really have any public projects yet.
No, that's all right. I mean,
so
I can
yeah.
still share your kill yourself. That's literally a button in your UI.
Yeah.
Well, here, I will still share a link. Oh, wait, I can't share a link to your itch.io. Yes, I can. For some reason, the default button of like view all games by a certain player just isn't there unless you have more than one game made, but you can still find it at the bottom of the page. So anyway, thank you for taking the time to talk with me about the game. I'm sorry that I hope it doesn't feel like I'm coming across too harshly. I just
No.
It's definitely a rage game, and I don't seek those out, but I'm always willing to give feedback, and thank you for being patient and listening through my advice.
It really helps a lot, because that's kind of why I joined the jam, to get feedback, to hear from, because I always know what I want to do and what I think is good, but in the end, it's like important to know what the players actually would like to see and what they like to do, and get some experienced people and not just someone who never did something like that before. Input from them to think about that.
Yeah.
So it really helps.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the stream, and I hope you have a great evening.
You too. Bye.
All right. Bye for now.